David always believed his wife loved him. But one rainy night, he discovered a hidden letter inside her old bag. What he read made his hands shake. His wife had been hiding a secret for 7 years. A secret so painful, it could destroy their family forever. But the truth was even more heartbreaking than he imagined. Stay with me until the end, because this emotional story will touch your heart. The Wife's Secret. David and Emma had been married for 8 years. They lived in a small but peaceful house near the edge of the city. David worked as a taxi driver and Emma stayed home most of the time. Their life was simple. They were not rich, but they were happy. Every morning, Emma woke up early to prepare breakfast for David. She always smiled warmly and kissed him goodbye before he left for work. David loved his wife deeply. He trusted her completely. But lately, something had changed. Emma looked worried all the time. Sometimes David saw her crying quietly in the kitchen late at night. Whenever he asked her what was wrong, she smiled and said, "Fine. Don't worry." But David knew something was hidden inside her heart. One evening, heavy rain started falling across the city. David returned home earlier than usual because there were very few passengers. As he entered the house, he noticed Emma was not home. The lights were off. David became worried. Then suddenly, he heard a phone vibrating on the table. It was Emma's phone. David normally never touched her phone. But this time something. The screen showed one unread message. "You can't hide the truth forever." David's heart started beating fast. "What truth?" he whispered. A cold feeling ran through his body. A few minutes later, Emma came home completely wet from the rain. When she saw David holding the phone, fear appeared in her eyes. "David, why are you looking at my phone?" David looked at her silently. Then he showed her the message. Emma's face turned pale. For several seconds, she said nothing. The room became painfully quiet. Finally, David asked softly, "Emma, what are you hiding from me?" Tears slowly filled her eyes. She sat down on the chair and covered her face with her shaking hands. Then she whispered, "There's something I should have told you years ago." David felt nervous. His mind was full of questions. Emma took a deep breath. "Before I met you, I had a little daughter." David froze in shock. "What?" Emma started crying harder. "I was very young and poor. After my husband died in an accident, his family took my daughter away from me. They blamed me for everything." David could barely speak. "You never told me this." Emma nodded sadly. "I was afraid. I thought if you knew the truth, you would leave me." David looked away silently. His heart felt heavy. Emma continued, "For 7 years, I tried to find my daughter. Last month," David stared at her in disbelief. "Where is she now?" "She's sick. The little girl needed an expensive surgery. We should save money. I wanted to tell you." Rain continued falling outside. David slowly turned toward her. "Emma, I'm hurt because you hid this from me. But your daughter is part of your heart. And that means she's part of my family too." Emma looked up at him with disbelief. You still accept me?" David smiled sadly. Love means staying together, even after discovering painful truths. For the first time in many years, the secret inside her heart finally disappeared. 2 weeks later, David and Emma traveled together to meet the little girl. She was thin, weak, and shy. David knelt beside Lily and smiled warmly. "Hi, Lily, I'm David." Then quietly asked, "Are you going to leave us too?" David's eyes filled with tears. He gently held her small hand. "Never." That day, Lily smiled for the first time in months. After meeting Lily, David could not sleep. Inside the room, Emma was sleeping beside her daughter's bed, as if she was afraid to lose her again. For the first time, he understood how much pain Emma had carried alone for so many years. The next morning, the doctor entered the room with serious eyes. "But the treatment will cost a lot of money." After the doctor left, Emma whispered, "We don't have enough money." "David, you already work so hard every day." David smiled gently. "Family means loving someone, protecting them, and never abandoning them." Lily's eyes slowly filled with tears. Then quietly, she asked, "Can I call you Dad someday?" Finally, with trembling eyes, he whispered, "You can call me Dad today." Emma watched from the corner of the room, crying silently. A week later, the surgery day finally arrived. Her hands shook badly while the nurses prepared Lily for surgery. Before entering the operation room, Lily looked at David and Emma. "Will I be okay?" But David forced himself to smile. Lily smiled weakly before the doors slowly closed. Then the waiting began. Hours felt like years. David held her hand the entire time. For one terrifying second, nobody spoke. Then the doctor smiled. The surgery was successful. Her smile slowly returned. The small apartment that once felt empty was now filled with laughter. At the top, she had written, "My family." David stared at the picture silently. Then tears slowly rolled down his face. Emma walked beside him softly. David smiled emotionally. Outside, rain continued falling softly. But inside that small home,